Thank you, Amita. All right, everybody. I'm going to turn it over to our spotlight speaker, Erin, with the Little Giants Foundation.
Thank you. And good morning to you all on Perk Up Thursday. I am so excited to be here and to share with you a little bit about our journey and where it has taken me from long ago to now and some of the challenges and blessings along the way. So I'm going to share my screen here, I think, do all that stuff. I can get to my, oh, that's not the right one. There we go. Okay. So first of all, if I can get my thing to move. There we go. All right, now we're cooking with gas. So this is my family and my husband, Joe. We've been married for 19 years, going on 20 this summer. And I was a teacher for nearly 20 years. I taught 9 years in Lincoln at Lincoln East, and I taught for 9 years in Ashland. And a couple of years I started off in Houston, Texas before moving back to Nebraska. So that's a little back history of things to let you know where we're headed. And we have 2 daughters. Emily is the one being held by Joe in the picture there in the pink, and she is 17. And then Taylor Jo is our youngest. She is 9 and in 4th grade, and Emily's in 11th grade, and they go to Gretna schools. We live outside of Gretna. And I also do a health and wellness that's been very important to me throughout my entire life. And so I started my health and wellness journey really almost 6 years ago in owning my own business. And I'll talk a little bit more about where that all had headed for me in a little bit here. But this is my family, and this is out on our acreage. You know, behind all of the smiles and the exterior, you see some of the smiles here in these pictures. Our family looked like the typical family probably to a lot of people. You know, as I said, I was a teacher, and we did our jobs, came home, smiles on our face every day. I would even have students say, "Hey, Mrs. Koesters, how is it that you're always smiling?" And it's just that positive attitude that I would always bring about and really show wherever I was. But really behind those smiles, a lot of days were struggles. We were working hard, my husband and I, to take care of our 2 children, and one of them with special needs and with a rare genetic life-limiting disease called SIOD, which I'll get more into later. And I was trying to run a business, be a mom, be a wife, a caretaker, a liaison, and run a new foundation. And, you know, that's just kind of how I do things, as you will see as we go along here. I tend to jump in and figure it out as I go. I didn't plan on being a teacher a long time ago either. The path led me there. And I was like, okay, I'll figure it out. Of course, I went to school for it, but that wasn't my intention when I first started off. And I just really am a free bird, kind of free soul type of person living in a structured world. Because one might argue that teaching is fairly structured, and caretaking for someone with a lot of medical issues is fairly structured. But I do have this free spirit about me. And so I wanted to share with you all some of the ways in which I've grown in this journey of being all the things and all the different hats. So one of the times that I kind of decided, and it really was a decision to push myself, was when we really had to push Emily. You can see she's in a full body cast there after having her double hip reconstruction surgery in Delaware in 2013. And we had had many surgeries up until then. She's had 55 surgeries to date. But that surgery, she had been in so much pain and not walking and not able to bear weight before it. And the road back to getting back up again and improving her quality of life was going to be pretty brutal on her. So when we were in Delaware to get the cast off, Emily and myself, it was New Year's Eve. I remember this. We were at the Ronald McDonald House in Wilmington, Delaware. And I decided that night, at the stroke of midnight, I was going to sign up and train myself for a half marathon that was coming up in May at Lincoln. And that's what I did. I was not going to be, I hear that those fill up fast. And I was like, I am not going to be out of this. Now, had I run before? Yeah, kind of, sort of. Was I running more than 3 miles? No. So I just jumped in and went for it and started training myself. And she became my biggest coach. I became her biggest coach. If I would come in after 7, 8 miles on my long days, and she would be like, what are you doing back inside? Get back out there and do another mile. Because I would always tell her to do one more. So I trained like the Dickens, and it paid off. I ran all 13.1 miles. I did not stop, and just kept on going, kept thinking of her. And it really was such a great accomplishment. And that feeling of just crossing the finish line, not for myself alone, but for her and the other children with SIOD and the other children we've met through transplant. She's had a kidney transplant, through cancer. She's battled cancer twice. And just for all of those children, that's what kept me going. So that was one of the things that I did for self-development and self-care, because really, as we are faced with challenges, and every new challenge that comes in, I feel like I can't be pushing my daughter to do these things if I'm not willing to do that myself. And I had heard, like, along the way of her medical journey for years, Erin, you need to take better care of yourself. And it wasn't like I was totally letting go, but I just was in a darker, deeper place of, I don't know how to describe it exactly. I always call it a black hole, an abyss of kind of spiraling down into myself. And I had heard, you cannot take care of other people unless you take care of yourself first. And I always thought that was selfish until I started doing it. And in 2013, when she had that surgery, was when it clicked for me that, yeah. And when I started really taking care of myself, I wanted to do more because I was able to care more and have more energy and just do all of the things that I had been putting on the back burner or not thinking about. So again, as she was beginning to walk, as you see here on the screen, and pushing along, I was like, okay, I need new goals. And someone had planted in my ear, working out and lifting weights and stuff. They were like, have you ever thought about bodybuilding? And I was like, no. because I'm in my 40s. And they were like, they have a master's class and all that stuff. And I'm like, so I thought about it. And then I thought, why not use it as a platform, for our foundation? So I tried it. And in 2015, I took top 5. And then I was kind of hooked and did it again the next year, took top 5 again, and didn't really even plan on placing. I just wanted to try it to be in better shape and see what I could do. And it turned out to be really great and a great way to help advocate about our foundation as well, and my health and wellness business, because if I'm going to be out there showing people how to look and be healthy, I better be doing that myself as well. So that is what I did. And again, our girls, Taylor Jo as well, biggest fans. By that time, she was like, Taylor Jo was 4 and 5, so she understood things a little bit more than in the past. And then you think I would stop there, but no. Again, another friend of mine from college, she had been seeing what I was doing with the foundation when we had opened it up in 2014. And she was like, Erin, you've been doing all the things that they do with the pageant system that I'm in. You have a platform, the Little Giants Foundation, you go out and you help other people, you help other organizations who have helped you. Have you ever considered joining the pageant world? And I'm like, again, no. What does that entail? And so I trusted my friend because, we went to college together and we're good friends, and still to this day. And so I was like, all right, I'll give it a whirl. Well, I came home as Mrs. Nebraska Worldwide the first year, and the girls joined me in the titles because the pageant director had seen that they come with me to just about everything. And they're like, well, this is for your daughters really with the foundation. So she gave them honorary titles. Emily was Junior Miss Worldwide and Taylor Jo was Little Miss Worldwide. So we got to take the stage together, and it had been a while since I'd been on the stage. So it was wonderful to be back there. And then the next year I was eligible to compete as Mrs. USA Worldwide, and I won that. And I was like, well, hey, this is pretty cool. And so then I did compete again for the worldwide title, and I came in as runner-up, but that was still a great experience of doing that and being able to share a couple of years of that with the girls and be out there in the community and helping other people. So that was pretty awesome. So, some of the things that I've learned throughout those years, especially a woman in her 40s taking on all these new challenges. I, first of all, had our second child in my 40s, went and did all of these things to better provide myself with self-development and self-care and really provide better for our family. But I also started a health and wellness business, began a foundation, and something had to give. And I feel like teaching was that thing. I did step down from teaching several years ago because I felt like, what was I really needing to focus on? And that was our own children and not other people's. And although I loved the students that I worked with and the communities I was involved in, it became very clear to us as a family that in order to move the foundation ahead and get to where we want to go, that would need to give so I could concentrate on it more. And I learned that other people are always watching us and what we're doing and staying consistent of what we are trying to accomplish. And our children, if you have children in your lives or even other children, people's children who are friends of yours, they're watching, just like the girls joining me on stage. And they wanted to be a part of that, to not only be around their mom, but to help the foundation itself. And I wouldn't have been able to do all of these things without my rock, which is my husband. And he's right there with me of facing challenges and really being the person who literally jumps through fire with me, holds my hand, and we go out there and face things together. And he wants to make sure that the girls and I are safe, that we feel worthy and loved. And he really is that person behind the scenes, if you will, who makes sure that our mission can be possible. And we have faced so many battles together, especially in the past 17 years of Emily's life, which is most of our married life, that I feel like we just are stronger together. And you can see me jumping up and down there in excitement, because my advice to people out there is really how I developed and learned and have grown along the way. Is I really focused on my why, as I was saying earlier. And you can read all the self-development, it can tell you that, but until you believe it and take action on it, our children, our family is the reason why I am doing this, to be able to prolong not only our daughter's life, but other children as well. And so I feel like goals are something that's very important. I know a few of you on here watching, and we've talked about goals before and how important they are to set them and to work towards something. And one of the ways that I do that is I work backwards. So I'm a big visionary person. I think my theatrical portions of life have taught me that. I see the big picture and then I break it down and work backwards. Like, okay, I know where I'm going. Now, how am I going to get there? And there are different ways to do that. So that's really important to me. And I feel like when we are knowing what our why is and setting those goals, and however you want to do them, you need to keep at the forefront that you are too important to not do that. Be selfish for a moment. It's okay. I've learned that along the way. One of the biggest things I've learned, it's okay to really know that you're worthy. You are enough to be able to step forward into what it is you are here on earth to do. So if you're in a position now, if I'm talking to someone that this resonates with, where you're like, yeah, okay, Erin, that's nice of you. You have your goals, you have your whatever. Well, let me believe in you until you can believe in yourself, because I had other people do that for me. And that's what got me here today. So let me do that for you, will you? And then just keep going. I'm cheering you on. Look at me. See, I'm jumping up and down for you. Keep working towards a healthier and stronger you in all aspects of your life. And there are so many different ways, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, just all the different things. I am so happy that I had people who believed not only in me, but believe in Emily and in our foundation, so that we can keep moving forward and keep jumping through fire and all the challenges that life brings, especially, this past year that we all have been going through. And so I wanted to bring you to the organization that I've been talking about, and who are we, and what is it that I've been fighting for and really working on myself to bring this about to help other people. And that is our Little Giants Foundation. So you can see our website there, thelittlegiantsfoundation.org. And I might take us back to that in a little bit, but just to make sure I get through everything time-wise and a few other clicks, we'll leave that there, and you can always bebop around the site on your own leisure. But I want you to know that we are a designated fund of Gretna Community Foundation and an affiliate fund of Midlands Community Foundation. So we are a 501c3. We just are umbrellaed under them. So what that means is in 2014, you know, I was still teaching, doing all of the things, taking care of special needs child, chronically ill. And I was like, I'm not very good at math, okay, full disclosure. So I was like, we had a family friend who was part of Gretna Community Foundation, and he was like, told me, Erin, have you considered this rather than starting it up on your own? And then we can take care of all of that back work and the monetary things for you and all the things that the IRS needs to know. I was like, really? You can do that? Sign me up, you know? So that is why we started with them, with the hopes one day to move out on our own. But I tell you what, all the hats that I'm wearing as the woman of the Little Giants Foundation and taking on everything, it's so nice to have these people on the back end taking care of everything, making sure it's done right. And I can really focus on all of the other entities that there are. So what do we exactly do? We fund research for SIOD, and we have a couple of projects that we are funding, and I will take you to those real quick that will allow me to. A little bit slow. The fundraisers that we're working on. Essentially, this first one is the biggie. It's like, okay, this is the $6 million, $6 million that we need to raise to help prolong these children's lives in finding the right tools, medication, all of that to help them with this gene. So let's see if it is coming about here. And essentially what it is funding, try and refresh it, see what it does. And if it doesn't, we'll go back. It's the beauty of technology, right? Well, I'll see if it comes back to it. But the people pictured here, this is when we were out at Stanford in 2018. This is Dr. Alice. She's in charge of stem cell transplant. This is Dr. Lewis. He is the head researcher. He's an immunologist at Stanford and Lucille Packard Children's Hospital. And then Elizabeth, one of his grad students. And we went out there so that he could actually see and evaluate and test Emily and myself, because this is a auto-recessive gene that is passed down that my husband and I had no clue that we even had. And Emily wasn't diagnosed till the age of 4. So that is crazy in and of itself. But he has been instrumental, and it's pretty revolutionary that they even want to study this rare disease, because it is such an orphan disease that because there are only 10 children in the US, Emily being one of them, and 50 in the world, that anyone would take this on. So that's pretty amazing in and of itself. And they are just so wonderful, so invested. I can talk to him. We talk via, Zoom, phone, texting. He is available. And I don't know how many other research projects are out there where the foundation head and the research head can communicate and be friendly towards one another and really have that direct line to what's happening. Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is one of the projects that we are raising, and that's going to be updated here very shortly. One of the projects with Stanford is a 50,000 project to help with the biorepository information. And what that means is there are samples, blood samples, DNA that we need to bring in from other families and all of the information, all the demographics, and blood excluded. I had been keeping track of that over the years of who I talked to, what families, you know, who's their child, when were they, all the things. And it was like, okay, I like having that information and being the liaison to families, and I still will help do that. But we needed to have someone who can really have that information at the lab and be responsible for it and bringing in all of the different sample work that they need. And so that is a $50,000 project that we're working to help them so that they can work on the site sequencing that's going on. And we're adding another 10 to 15,000 to that here, hopefully by the end of this month. So we're getting closer and closer to that short-term goal. So I'm super excited and proud of that accomplishment. And that is with the help of people funding. And then there's the bigger one, like I said, with the, here is the lab, which it does look like that. We've been there and seen all of the ins and outs and where they keep all of the research materials. There's Dr. Lewis. And it just has some brief quotes and information, but you can always hop on there. This is another video that we have that a UNL student, her senior project, had done for us. That one's about 5 minutes long, and we have one on our website that a UNO student did for us recently. That's a couple minutes. So this goes over all of the research that's happening, and if you want to donate directly in our name, the Little Giants Foundation, to Lucille Packard, there's an option to do that as well. And so we're quite a ways away from the 6 million mark, but you know, we'll get there one day. You got to believe that, right? So I wanted to show you, those things. And then this is just an overview of kind of what our website does, a little infographic of who we are. And essentially, as I said, I work with families and doctors and researchers around the world to help educate them and raise awareness and funding for SIOD. And then our inspiration, of course, is our daughter, Emily, and there's her sister, Taylor Jo, and our family and ways that you can help if you so choose. And here are ways that you can find us. We're all over social media. We're a part of TAG, which I know is starting to spread out into the Lincoln area. So if you don't have Little Giants in your receipt area for TAG, you can please add us to that. There's no additional cost. It's a free app. And if you want to know more about that, you can always ask me outside of this or later on in the questions. But we're all over just sharing and spreading that awareness. So if you don't follow us already, it's a great opportunity to do that. So how is it that you can help? And as I said earlier, you can share with those social sites that we are on. You can share this video today. You can share our videos that we have on YouTube and through the Little Giants Foundation, because really we need that awareness piece and this education, because a lot of people minus a few people who are on here who already know me, you probably never heard of Little Giants Foundation, or certainly not SIOD, which don't feel like you're out of the loop, because most doctors haven't heard of SIOD either. And so we are literally educating them through Emily and her journey. Another way that you can help, of course, is to donate. We have really been working hard on amping up our monthly donors and encouraging people to donate whatever they can monthly to our cause and to help us get and reach those goals for research. And you can also sponsor us if you and or your businesses would like to do a corporate sponsorship. We do have a letter and a form that I can share with you, and we're working on building our corporate sponsorship this year, especially. And volunteers, when we do have in-person events, whenever that will be again, we have some volunteer opportunities. Our biggest thing is the farm run that we have in the fall, and that is our biggest event of the year, but we have several events throughout the year. And we also have volunteers who help us write thank yous and some data entry and things like that, which is powered by Share Omaha, which is where we have our wish list. And we are part of Share Omaha, and you can go on and find the Little Giants Foundation, where you can donate there as well, or you can sign up to be a volunteer or help us with our wish list through Amazon, and it's sent directly to us. And that's really to help us with a lot of our business needs, because I do run it all out of my home, and printer, ink, all of the things that you need to run your office. So that can be very helpful, and it's sent right here. And this Thursday, today's Thursday. So next Thursday is a very special day, and I hope that you all can participate in wherever you are at. It is Emily's Nebraska Little Giants Day, proclaimed by the governor. And so we are wearing red and taking your best selfies or company shots or whatever and sharing them on our social media sites and tagging us to just bring about awareness. So people are like, what's all this red on social media going on here? I know it's near Valentine's Day, but it's just a way to share your heart and share your support. Because Joe and I, my husband and I, we really will do about anything to ensure the quality of life for our daughter, Emily, that it stays as high as it can for as long as it can. We're doing this by staying the course and believing, as we always have. And when we got Little Giants Foundation up and running in 2014, we wanted to ensure that the monies were given to the head researcher, Dr. Lewis at Stanford, for SIOD. And it became very prevalent and important to us because when we first started off with this in 2009, when she was diagnosed, Dr. Neil Borkel in Canada was the head researcher at the time. And Dr. Lewis, kind of a full circle thing here, he had been communicating with Dr. Borkel. And when Borkel left Canada to go to NIH and Sanford in South Dakota, I believe it is, then Dr. Lewis had been following and knew of us and Emily and wanted to bring it to the States. And so it was just all kind of this divine intervention and great way for us to bring it here to the US to help us raise that $6 million and get that groundbreaking medicine for not only Emily to help prolong her life, but the other children with SIOD. Because in 2014, when we got Little Giants Foundation up and running, 5 SIOD children died. out of, very few. 3 of them were from the US. So at one time, there were only 2, Emily and another child in the US. And 1 from the UK and 1 from Spain, all died in 2014. Since then, at least 2 children have died each year thereafter. And so time is running out. Emily has already surpassed her life expectancy of 9 years old. And now it's all a waiting game. So with each passing child, over the years, Joe and I, we really ask why. Why is it that our Emily, who seemingly has been more sick for the longest time, yet still lives on? Why are we so blessed to have another year? We won't really know why yet, but we do know that we take each moment we have and we live life to the fullest, so we can continually raise the bar for Emily's quality of life. So that's why the journey and the pathway to the Little Giants Foundation is so important to us. It's not just here in Nebraska, it's on a national and international level. And we are campaigning to bring about awareness, and you're helping us do that today to help educate and help us fundraise so that all little giants can live a longer life. So thank you so much from Emily and myself for believing in a future for Emily and the Little Giants Foundation. And right now, I'd really just like to pause and breathe a second and open it up to questions that you might have.
So I'm going to jump right in. Can you hear me? I've got to know Erin a little bit and talk to her over the last 30, 60 days. And what's a lot of obvious things here, but her heart, the way she serves, the way she gives, unbelievable. And there's some things that we can do. I mean, there's obvious things, but a lot of great causes out there. But I will say this, if you haven't had a chance to sit down with her one-to-one and just embrace that whole thing that she's going through, it's fantastic. And things that we can do with a lot of effort, little effort, is help connect her with sponsors, with corporate people, with individuals, help her get the word out. I just want to say that. Thank you, Erin.
Well, also, I'll jump in. I had a privilege of sitting down with Erin one-on-one, and it was awesome. 2 things, Erin. I think Emily is still around because God wants her here to share that cause and to, with you and Joe, lift up the whole cause. So he still has her purpose in mind, number 1. Number 2, I don't think you ever shared with the group, what is SIOD? What is that disease, and how has it affected Emily?
Oh, yes, thank you. SIOD stands for Schimke Immunoosseous Dysplasia. And that really is a complicated, long medical term for an autorecessive gene that takes over the entire body. And it's a protein blocker. So let's say this is an average spine. The protein typically goes out and filters to all our different organs and all the things that we need in our bodies to be healthy.
And
well, gene blocks about right here. And it doesn't get to the places. So everything and anything that can go wrong typically goes wrong, in a nutshell.
And it affects growth, and the effects on Emily, what are those? I mean, we've shared that, but for the group.
Kidney failure, which she's had, stroke, knock on wood, seizures, which she goes through, the possibility of cancer, which she's had twice, vascular issues, just everything.
Thank you.
Mhm. And thank you for your kind words, John and Doug. Really appreciate it.
Anybody else have questions for Erin? Well, thank you, Erin, for sharing with us this morning. And you and your family are amazing and inspiring. And so we will definitely help you get the word out on this. And I just love your enthusiasm and your let's just go do it and I'll figure it out. That is a true that is a true entrepreneur and true inspiration for the rest of us. So thank you so much. And hope you all can join us next week. We have Andrew Minerick with Flyover Whiskey. Following that, on February 18th, we have the Lockbox Escape Room. And then we're still looking for speakers on March 4th and March 11th. So if anybody knows anybody that you want to hear from at Perk Up Thursday, send them our way. And with that, I hope you go out and just say yes to something like Erin and then figure it out as you go.
Exactly.
So actually, one other thing. So I guess, Erin, I know of a researcher that's working on related genes. It's in the switch SNF pathway. I can connect up with you offline to. I mean, I guess it doesn't. I don't know whether it's that particular gene that they're studying, but there's like it's like a complex of like a dozen that are all related. That they're studying how it relates to human disease. So.
Sure, I'm open to whatever.
They're on the East Coast though, so. But.
That's okay. We go all over.
All right. Thanks, Gordon. Well, everybody have a great day and
Thank you.
we will see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.